Benjamin is a former Argentinian federal justice agent who wants to write a book about a case from 25 years ago, but he doesn't know how or where to start. One day, he walks to the courthouse to see his former chief, Irene Menéndez. She is so happy to finally see him after a long time. Benjamin shows her his initial draft of the book. When she hears that Benjamin wants to write about the Morales case, she looks at him with hesitation. Irene gives him an old Olivetti typewriter, which makes him want to work on his book more, but he doesn't know where to start. Irene tells him that he should start from where he remembers the most. And he remembers the first time he met the beautiful woman and their new boss, Irene Menéndez Hastings, the woman he secretly admires. 20 years ago, Benjamin is asked to look into the murder of a beautiful woman named Liliana Caloto. She had just gotten married to Ricardo Morales and had been brutally taken advantage of and killed. Benjamin is shocked by the news and he finds it really difficult to look at the exposed and violated Liliana. Later, Romano, Benjamin's rival partner, comes in to give him the update for the case of Liliana Caloto. Romano says that 2 random builders killed Liliana, which makes Benjamin angry and causes him to attack Romano. According to Benjamin, Romano falsely charged innocent people. Benjamin goes to see Morales at his home. As Benjamin looks at Liliana's old pictures, he sees a young guy who looks at the victim suspiciously in several of the photos. Morales finds out that the young man is Isidoro Gomez. Benjamin and Pablo look everywhere in Chivilcoy for Gomez, but he is nowhere to be found except for his mother. When the old lady goes out to get food, the two break in and find out that Gomez is actively sending her letters. When the old lady comes home, they both run out of the house and unintentionally steal a set of letters that the suspect sent to his mother. Judge Fortuna urgently wants to see Benjamin right away. A colleague from Chivilcoy reports that Benjamin and Pablo were spotted breaking into the old lady's house. And Benjamin denies it. Judge Fortuna tells him not to lie because he knows Benjamin's registered car was parked near the old lady's house. Irene is mad at them for what they did, but she still helps them get out of the mess. She had Judge Fortuna agree with her by smiling and suggesting that they call the other judge in Chivilcoy to put the whole thing behind them. In exchange, Benjamin would refrain from such behavior in the future. A question comes to Benjamin. What would her irresistible smile look like? He can't remember if he has seen it before, but she refuses to reveal it to him because she's saving it for her boyfriend. After a while, Irene asks him to bring her the Liliana Caloto file so she can seal and archive it. Since the case is finished, he has no choice but to do what she says. In the present, Irene and Benjamin have tea and look at old photos while talking about their pasts. Irene has a hard time remembering things, but Benjamin has no trouble at all. Irene looks at him and tells him that he probably has a good novel. Benjamin has reached the end of his life and wants to look back, but she can't. Irene can't look at the past anymore because she has a job to do, and her own life to live. She is unable to help Benjamin seek the justice he so badly wants for Liliana. She gets up and says goodbye. Benjamin sees Morales sitting on a bench at the train station. He puts out his hand and asks how he's doing. Benjamin finds out that Morales is waiting for Gomez. Every Tuesday and Thursday, he goes to the train stop. The rest of the week, he goes to the other station. He keeps changing what he does every month hoping that one day he'll catch Gomez. Even though it has been a year since the crime happened, Benjamin doesn't stop looking into it. Morales is glad that Benjamin cares so much. Benjamin can see on his face that he's sad and misses his wife. Benjamin goes to Irene to ask if she can help him and Pablo reopen the case of Liliana Caloto. They see how much Morales still cares for his wife just by looking at his eyes. Irene denies knowing what passionate true love eyes even looks like. They ask her if she can destroy an official document with the judge's name on it and change the statement and dates to make it look like the case is still open. Irene closes the door and sighs. Benjamin goes to Sandoval's office to get the letters, but by the time he goes there, Sandoval has gone off to a bar to get drunk. Sandoval finds a new clue as he looks at and thinks about the letters of evidence. One person at the bar says that the names in the letters are those of different soccer players. So, Benjamin and Sandoval go to a soccer game to try to catch Gomez. They find him in the crowd with the help of Officer Molinari and his men. But Gomez simply takes off running. Gomez jumps from great heights to get away, and he almost does. But he gets knocked down when he tries to cut through the soccer field. Gomez is put in jail and taken to the courts to be questioned. Before the judge shows up, Benjamin wants to ask the suspect himself if he killed Liliana. Irene goes over to Eduardo to stop him, but Benjamin is also trying to pull her back, which tears her clothes. Irene is taken aback. He says he is sure of what he is doing. Soon after, Benjamin is doing everything he can to catch Gomez and get him to say what he did. Gomez, on the other hand, is trying to avoid being caught. He is pretending to be innocent. Irene comes in and talks to Benjamin in a whisper. She sees that Gomez's eyes are pressed on her breast. Irene feels violated, so she tries to cover herself up. Because of this, Irene has a change of heart and wants to interrogate Gomez more even though Benjamin is done. The two continue with the interrogation by insulting him and wounding his macho ego. Irene takes the charge in the interrogation. Irene explains in detail that Liliana's private parts were torn apart, and small man like Gomez would not have been able to do that to Liliana. To prove them wrong, Gomez decides to expose himself to them. And in a furious fit, they manage to get a confession from him as he slaps Irene. Justice is served. Everything is fine, then. But a year later, a vengeful Romano frees Gomez, who now works for the government. Benjamin and Irene go over to see Romano. They don't want to let them in, so Benjamin comes in and looks for Romano by force. Irene asks Mr. Romano why the main suspect in a rape and murder case was suddenly freed. Romano tells them that Gomez did a good job of spying on young guerrillas while he was in jail for them. Benjamin thinks that Romano freed Gomez to spite Benjamin. Romano tells Benjamin that Irene is way out of his league. She's young and beautiful while Benjamin is much older and not as smart. Romano reiterates that they can't do anything about Gomez's release. They both leave the building with disappointment. As they are getting into the elevator and the door is closing, Gomez walks in from nowhere. The place becomes quiet as Gomez readies his gun. Gomez arrogantly leaves the elevator and Irene is left shook. Then, Benjamin goes to see Morales to let him know that their hands are tied with Gomez. Morales so badly wants Gomez to go to jail because Morales doesn't believe in the death penalty. He thinks death is an easy way out and wants Gomez to suffer in prison. Alas, Morales is unable to get the justice he deserves, but he moves on with his life anyway. Irene wants to talk to Benjamin about how she feels about him, but he can't let her because she's already engaged. Irene doesn't want him to agree with it. She asks him to meet her somewhere after work. Benjamin gets a phone call from someone. His alcoholic assistant Pablo Sandoval is in trouble again, so the police officer calls Benjamin to deal with Pablo. Pablo spends the night at Benjamin's house because he always fights with his wife about his habit of drinking. Benjamin has to leave home to see Irene, but before he goes there, he goes straight to Pablo's house to pick up Pablo's wife. When they get back to Benjamin's place, Pablo's body is in bed and full of blood. He's shot in the head. Irene helps Benjamin find a place to hide because they know that Benjamin, not Pablo, was the real target. Benjamin will begin his life in Jujui alone, just like he did in Buenos Aires. Benjamin and Irene's budding passion ends when Sandoval dies and Benjamin decides to live alone in the country with the help of some of Irene's close relatives. She cries her eyes out as she runs after the guy of her dreams and holds hands with him through the train window. That is the end of it because of circumstance, but also because they took too long to admit their feelings. As time passes, Irene gets married and has children. 24 years later, Benjamin is still haunted by the past, so he is determined to write his story as a novel. He then gives the outline to Irene. She is still enraged and hardened by Benjamin's sudden departure and the fact that she seems to have never had her feelings reciprocated by him. Benjamin plans to visit Morales back in Chivilcoy, where he is living a quiet life and has stopped thinking about the murder case so much. They talk about Gomez and how he apparently disappeared out of the blue. It has been 25 years since Morales' wife, Liliana, was killed. Benjamin asks him how he lives despite what happened back then. Morales gets visibly upset and tells him that it has been 25 years and that they shouldn't think about it anymore. They have no control over it. Liliana was killed, Pablo is gone, and it's possible that Gomez is also dead. This is confusing to Benjamin because Morales still has an old photo of Liliana on his shelf, indicating that Morales probably still hasn't moved on. Morales has had enough of Benjamin and so he asks him to leave. Before Benjamin does, he tells Morales that it most likely wasn't Gomez who killed Pablo. However, Benjamin won't stop looking for Gomez so that he can get justice for Liliana. Because of this, Morales decides to come clean and say he had kidnapped and killed Gomez in the trunk of his car. So, Morales reminds Benjamin to move on from the past. As Benjamin drives away, a few things come to his attention. He goes back to Morales' house secretly. He sneaks in and is surprised to find a temporary cell in Morales' house. When food is put in the cell, someone comes out of the dark. Benjamin slowly steps in and finds out that it's Gomez. Morales fed him and took care of him, but he never talked to him or let him out of the cell in the last 24 years. Morales deprived Gomez of any social interaction and made his life mean nothing. Benjamin's face shows shock but understanding when he looks at Morales. Life. Give him life. That is what Morales tells Benjamin in 1974, that he thinks a boring life in jail is a better punishment than the death penalty. He pays a visit to Sandoval's grave. Then, Benjamin finally comes to terms with the fact that Gomez will never again be a free man. He goes back to see Irene one more time, and this time, he finally tells her how he feels. With their love renewed, they smile and close the door.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.